Hello, welcome back to Tari's Lifestyle and Vlog, and thank you so much for stopping by. Now, it's no news that the UK government is trying to cut down on net migration, okay, and I've done a number of videos about it. We've learned recently that the UK student visa would no longer be eligible for dependents, so people on dependent visas will no longer be able to bring their dependents. There's a legal migration bill and a few other videos that I've talked about. There have been so many talks and so many proposals that have been made about net migration, and I've done a few videos. I'll put them up on the screen for you so you can have a look. But today, there's been another update, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So there are plans and proposals to actually stop the care worker visa, and they're also planning to actually stop the 2 years post-study work visa. And we know that for anyone that comes to the UK to study a postgraduate course and above, once you finish, you have the opportunity to stay in the UK for another 2 years, and that will give you the opportunity to find work within the UK or whatever else you want to do. But one of the proposals is that they're wanting to stop it. So the government, they've actually proposed a 12-point agenda to the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, and I'm just going to be reading them to you just so we can have a look, so we can have the right information. They post on the Guardian newspaper, which is dated the 2nd of July 2023, so it's still very recent, about just a few days ago. Okay, so it says so the title, first of all, is Red Tory MPs put pressure on Rishi Sunak over net migration, and there's so much talks about net migration in the past couple of months. Okay, we've also heard about small boats, people coming to the UK with small boats and all of that. Okay, so there's been a lot of pressure and a lot of pressure. They say Red Wall Tories. So the Red Wall Tories are ministers, politicians from the northern part of the United Kingdom, which usually supported Labour and all of that. Okay, so but that's a political term that we don't really need to go into. Okay, just know that some part of the government, some group of people in the government, in Parliament. Okay, so it says Rishi Sunak is facing demand from Red Wall Conservatives MP to slash the number of overseas care worker, foreign students and refugees allowed into the UK in time for the next election. So they want him to slash the number of care workers, of foreign students, and we know that foreign students contribute a lot to the UK economy, and also the number of refugees that have been allowed into the UK. And we know that recently there's been a lot of refugees, considering the Ukrainian war that's going on. A lot of people have come into the UK as refugees. We have people coming on small boats and things like that. Okay, so it says, I'm not going to read everything, I'll just try and try and pick out a few things. Okay, so it says MPs from the 2017 and 2019 intake, who call themselves the New Conservatives, have issued a 12-point plan to cut net migration to Britain from 606,000 to 226,000 before the end of 2024. And we know that up to June, the net migration actually increased significantly. About 557,000 people came into the UK, more than the number that actually left the UK. I've done videos on that as well, which you might want to have a look at on my channel. Okay, so a lot of people have come into the UK and they're wanting to cut it from 606,000 to 226,000, okay, before the end of 2024. Okay, but guys, before I go on, if this is your first time of coming to my channel, on this channel we'll talk about UK visa and immigration, we'll talk about life in the UK, we'll talk about how to safely and successfully travel to the UK, and how to navigate through life if you are an immigrant living in the UK like myself. Okay, and so if you like videos like this, then please subscribe, turn on your bell icon, and so you don't miss out on my videos going forward. And so I know that my videos are actually impacting on people, that my people are finding my videos helpful. Okay, so just leave your comment down and please subscribe, share to your friends and family as well. Okay, so we'll just crack on with the news. Okay, it says measures put forward. So I've just skipped through a few paragraphs. It says measures put forward by the New Conservatives include closing temporary schemes that grant eligibility for worker visas to care workers and senior care workers, and that's what I've just said before. anyone that's coming to the UK as a carer or even as a senior carer, they're wanting to put a stop to it. Okay, so it says in order to reduce long-term migration by 82,000. Okay, so whether this is going to be possible, we don't know, but that's their proposal. But we also know that the UK is actually struggling for employment, for skills, for labor. Okay, so the UK is struggling. That's the reason why they've decided to give people these care worker visas. But now they are saying that they want to reduce it. If they want to do that, then they obviously they will have to have a backup plan. Otherwise, this might not necessarily work. Okay, so they also propose stopping graduating overseas students from staying on in the UK for up to 2 years to find work, and extending the closure of student-dependent routes that allows students' family members to access the job market. The two measures will cut long-term immigration by 125,000. So what they are saying is they are wanting to stop students from staying in the UK, which I've just mentioned, for 2 years. So they might want to reduce it to 1 year. I think I've done a video about them wanting to reduce it to 1 year or take it out completely. Okay, but they're saying they want to reduce it from 2 years, and also stop dependents from coming into the UK and taking jobs. But again, we know that the UK is struggling for workers. So whether this will be possible, whether they already have a backup plan, we don't know that yet. Okay, so it says the MPs advocate only allowing in skilled workers who earn £38,000 a year or more, thus reducing long-term inward migration by 54,000 people a year, they claim. So that's a claim. They want to reduce the migration by 54,000. So there's so many figures here. Okay, but they're saying that they want to allow only skilled workers that are earning up to £38,000 a year. And to tell you the truth, the average worker in the UK doesn't earn this amount. Okay, so which means that they're going to make it almost impossible for foreign workers to come to the UK and work. Okay, so it just says the measures have been criticized by experts over being simplistic and for being potentially damaging to the economy. Yes, it will be damaging to the economy because we already know that the UK economy is struggling. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and just read the 12-point action plan. Okay, so other proposed measures include a cap of 20,000 on the number of refugees accepted for settlement in the UK. So for people that are coming to the UK as refugees, they want to cap it to 20,000 that will be accepted. Okay, caps on the future humanitarian schemes such as Ukraine, Afghanistan, Hong Kong schemes should be predicted 168,000 reduction, not be realized. Okay, so the third one is implementation of the provisions of the legal migration bill, which is claimed would lead to a reduction of at least 35,000. And I've done a video on the illegal migration bill. Okay, and it just says that people that are coming to the UK on small boats will be returned and things like that. Okay, I'll put the video up here for you so you can have a look at that one. But they want it to be implemented. Okay, so the other one is to raise in the minimum combined income threshold to 26,200 for sponsoring a spouse, and raising the minimum language requirement to B1. Okay, so for anyone that wants to sponsor their spouse, they want to raise the requirement. So at the moment, if you want to sponsor your spouse, the combined income is 18,600, but they're saying that they want to increase it to 26,200. Okay, so that's a huge jump, almost 8,000 pounds more than what it used to be. Okay, and the other one is to increase the language requirements, because if you're coming as a spouse of a UK citizen or a UK resident, you need to do an IELTS test. Okay, so they're saying that they want to raise it to B1, which is the intermediate level rather than the minimum level. Okay, so this could lead to an estimated 20,000 reduction. So that's what they're saying. So basically all their plans is to reduce the net migration to a certain number. Okay, so the next one is making the Migration Advisory Committee report on the effects of migration on housing and public services, not just the jobs market, by putting future demands on par with labor requirements in all studies. So they want the migration advisory committee, which is the committee that actually advises the government on migration, the effects of migration and what needs to be done. They bring proposal. They want them to report on the effect of migration on housing and public services. Housing, like houses that people stay, public services like hospitals, transport and all that. How does it affect the economy? So they want the migration committee to actually report on that. Okay, so it says a 5% cap on the amount of social housing that councils can give to non-UK nationals. So anyone that's not a UK national, they are proposing that they only have there should be a 5% cap on the amount that they can receive on social housing. Okay, and the last one which is there is raising the immigration health surcharge to 27,000 per person. So this is actually a huge one, because at the moment immigration surcharge is £624, but they are proposing to increase it to 2,700, which is more than 100%, almost 300%, or even more than 300% as it is per year. So if you're coming to the UK on maybe a spouse visa as a student, whatever, you will need to pay 2,700 for a year. So if your visa application is for 2 years, it will be 2,700 per year. Okay, so which will be over £5,000, and that is massive. Like I said, at the moment it's £624 for anyone coming on maybe a spouse visa, anyone on the over 18 applying, and for students it's only £470 a year. So if you're coming to study for 2 years, it will be 470 times 2, which should be 940 or so. I hope my math is correct. Okay, so but now they want to increase it 1 year to 2,700, and that for me is massive. Okay, so how can I pay 2,700 to come to the UK? That's only the NHS surcharge, health surcharge. You've not talked about your application fee. You've not talked about the other expenses that come with traveling to the UK. Okay, but someone has said something, says the person is Madeline Sumption, director of the Migration Observatory. Okay, she said some of the proposals were outlandish. For example, an NHS surcharge of 2,700 per person per year seems to be based on the misunderstanding of how the NHS is funded, namely through income tax. So really, she's saying that this kind of law is a misunderstanding of how these things can be done. Okay, but I guess she's just charging them to think properly before they implement these changes. This is a charge this high will probably be the tail that wags the dog of the rest of the policies the report proposes. Okay, but really there's so many things that have been proposed. So a 12-point plan that have been proposed. Whether any of this is going to be implemented, we don't know yet, but we know that they're trying to remove the 2 years post-study work visa. We know that families can no longer come to the UK with their families that are students. We know that the care worker visa, there's a proposal to stop it. We know that all these things have been being proposed. Okay, but whether they're going to implement them, we don't know. But this is the information I have for now. If I have any other information, so if any of these proposals are put in place, then I'll be here to give you this information as well. Okay, but I hope this video has been helpful to someone. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Okay, share and leave a comment, share with your family and friends. Leave your comment underneath. I'll do my best to respond and also do videos if you have any questions for me. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.